Servant, Episode 8, Boba. I'm Joe. Please subscribe to this channel. Happy New Year. This was another really, really good episode. They are coming to the end of this season hot. Episode 8 was the Julian episode. Cinematography is fantastic on this show, and it starts with a very cool sort of truck-in shot. Maybe it was done with a dolly or crane or something. I don't know. All I know is it comes from the street, it comes into Julian waiting to park, comes around and sees him. Just fantastic. The cinematography on this show is really good. The things they do on this show have meaning and have purpose. And what I mean for that is that we kind of saw in that opening Julian's character, an explanation of Julian's character. He's sitting in his car, he's waiting to park, he's being patient, she's leaving and he's waiting for the spot. The lady's leaving with the baby, and the baby's shoe drops, and Julian now wants to help. But rather than Julian doing what you normally do when you help, which may be, hey, excuse me, miss, he starts honking the horn to tell her that the shoe dropped, to which she interprets as him just being impatient about her spot. So it's just kind of indicative of the Julian character. He wants to help, but he kind of gets in his own way. He wants to help, but rather than help in the right way, he helps in the impulsive way by honking his horn. And then him walking into the house and saying, you just can't help some people. So, a great open, a great way to start the episode, very indicative of his character. In the recap of what's happened, they brought up Isabella, the intern at the news station. We didn't really get anywhere with that other than I'm going to guess that when Julian's got the TV channel on and you see people are being abducted in town, they didn't say who the reporter was, but I'm guessing that's Isabella. She was reporting on abductions, and Dorothy's going to the event tonight, and she's just a guest. She's not nominated for anything. If you've paid attention to her news bits, for the most part, they've been kind of fluff. Her going into the sewers, her doing aerobics. She did a couple things that were interesting, like she was at a court case, but for the most part, she does a lot of fluff reporting. So I don't know if that's going to be something they go through later. Other people rising up the ranks, but it was peppered in there. It was in the open, but not really explored. So I guess it was there for later in your head. Another thing before we go through the main arc of the episode was that Leanne went out on a date with Toby, the assistant chef. She tries to kiss him at the end, and he kind of backs away and says, it's not you. He was kind of saying it's not really a date. I mean, I don't know how much we really care about Toby, but is he gay? Is that why he doesn't like Leanne? He's just being courteous, or is he not gay and just doesn't like her? Because I can't imagine that being the case. But I don't know how important that really is to the overall thing. But again, so nothing's really wasted in the real estate on this show and the space they have. So we'll find out what that is later. Let's get to the main part of the story, though, and that's Julian. Julian comes over to babysit. He babysits in the way he babysits best, by just doing nothing, drinking, picking food, smoking a bowl. Finally, he decides to check on the baby monitor, and here's nothing. He goes upstairs. It's like, hey, you awake? You little beep. Which I thought, that's just insane. This is how he babysits. He yells at the baby to see if it's awake. And we have the reintroduction as he goes into the room to check on the baby, goes into the crib, and it's the reborn doll. And he's panicking, running in the house, running around the house, trying to find the actual baby, trying to find where it is. As he's bugging out, in the moments of him bugging out, trying to find it, Dorothy and Julian's father finally shows up. And that was nice to see this character, because we knew from the very, very beginning that he also was in on the reborn doll ruse. But he hasn't found out yet about the actual baby being there yet. It's impeccable timing that the doll shows up before the father shows up. You know, we kind of see where the family traits come from. First thing he does is go right for the wine, has a little conversation, and then shows Julian a photo of a baby and says, this is Anders, his mother's Swedish, and he has the cockamamie idea of buying a baby to replace the reborn doll, which actually makes Julian laugh. the father's idea is to just do what's already they think happening. So that was really cool and really clever. And also, not much of a coincidence, I don't think, that the baby's not there when the dad shows up with this idea. Leanne gets home and just carries on her business like there's a baby there, not the reborn doll. And Julian's flipping out to her face. And it's one of the cooler scenes to see him in this manic state and her just acting just calm, cool as a cucumber. And also as bizarre as she can be, like blowing right into his face, like, is my breath smell? I was wondering, was that why Toby didn't want to kiss me? So she's a very interesting character too. Like, what the hell is she? Is she some sort of supernatural being that's on the earth trying to act like she's really here and trying to work in the real world? Who knows? All we know is he's basically throwing numbers at her. I'll give you 50. I'll give you 75. I'll give you 100, but we're at the ceiling here. And he's like just panicked and freaking out. And then she finally says, what happened? Julian goes all full on Ruprecht, running around the house, banging a pot to the point where he destroys it. And then finally, we have the flashback. He runs into the house by going around the back. And this is where, please put your comments in the comment section if you know what the hell it was. There's something on the table. I have no clue what's on the table. It looks like a giant heap of crap. I don't know if it's a gigantic honeycomb or a gigantic nest or a piece of meat or just, I don't know what the hell is on the table. It looks gross. I think there's flies around it. It looks like there's a bottle on the top of it. No clue what's going on. What the hell is on that kitchen table? He goes upstairs, opens the door to Jericho's room, and the window's wide open, and the thing's blowing, and that's all we see. Goes into Leanne, and essentially confesses what happened to Leanne. But we don't hear the confession. When Sean and Dorothy come home, tells Sean she knows everything. He's like, what the F? Goes upstairs, asks to hold the baby, and after the confession, even though we don't know what the confession is, the baby is back. The actual living baby is back, and Julian holds it. This episode, just once again, fantastic, shot well, great cinematography, and again, it's peered you into things. It lets you know that something's amiss, but what? We don't know. All we know now is that Leanne knows, Sean knows that Leanne knows. What the hell is Leanne? Who is Leanne? Why did Julian decide to confess this? He's trying to pay her off to get out of here, but at the same time he confesses it because I guess they say, confession's good for the soul. So it's weighing on him, and something compelled him to tell her because something's not right with her or something's very right with her. After Leanne finds out about what really happened to Jericho, she goes to help Dorothy and take off her pearl necklace, undoes the latch to make the whole necklace fall on the ground, and Leanne quickly picks up one of the pearls and hides it in her mouth. So, again, what was that about? Why did she do that? Was it deliberate? Did she deliberately try to steal a pearl from the pearl necklace? We're going to find out more about that, I hope. Going back to funny moments in the episode, because there's always funny moments in the episode. When Julian comes in, he's making the little bubbles, and I guess that's why this episode's called Boba. He comes in, he eats the little bubbles, he eats it. What is it? I'm starving. And Sean just like, well, Dorothy took the baby off breast milk, and I just want her to know that excess breast milk is appreciated. He was eating his own sister's breast milk, and he spits it out. Again, if you know what the hell that thing was on the table, write it in the comments. Was it something so putrid that they had to open the window, and when the window was open, the baby fell out of it? The baby caught a chill and died? I don't know. We're going to find out soon enough, maybe, hopefully, because this show, as I've mentioned before, is going to carry on for more seasons, but they got to give us some kind of resolution. They got to tell us what the hell's happening before they move on to another story. Fantastic show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to this channel. Until next time, I'm Joe.